Good morning, everyone. Please come in. Feel free to have a seat. Introduce yourself to someone. My name is Thenie Freeman, and I have the privilege and pleasure of serving as the Associate Director for the Office of Youth Programs, the program that administers the largest summer youth employment program in the country, and the first mayoral order done by our great Mayor Muriel Bowser, first second term African-American woman. I mean, come on, y'all. Her very first mayoral order was to rename the Summer Youth Employment Program in his honor. So we are officially and affectionately known as the Marion S. Berry Summer Youth Employment Program. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. In this space, there are many of us who have participated, who were a part of it as a host site in various capacities. And so at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Norm Nixon to offer some reflections about his experience and just to tell you a little bit of secrets about the Marionberry.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. This is a great day. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right. Young people not here, they're in school, but we got to carry on their exuberant spirit of the young people here this morning. My name is Norman Nixon. I am a proud first ever Marionberries Youth Leadership Institute participant. 211 of my colleagues went through the first ever Marionberries Youth Leadership Institute. It was a brainchild of the mayor who created it to fill a void of training as it relates to leadership for young people. That same training he gained as a student leader, Congressman Fauntroy, Andrew Young, so many of Dr. King's lieutenants who went on to become elected officials and leaders in this nation. I grew up in Park Morton public housing. Now, never forget, the resident council president said, I'm sending you down to Howard University to participate in a program that was just created. Don't get in any trouble. And me, as a young person living 6 or 7 blocks away from Howard University, I was enthralled to be able to stay in the dormitory. And I met so many other young people from across the city, and we made a decision after our 2 weeks of training that we were going to make a difference in this city. I met Mayor Berry. I was actually in the training room sitting on the floor, tired, because we stayed up all night and went to work during the daytime. And he came and shook my hand and asked me what was I doing with my life, and said that I'm going to offer you the opportunity to be an intern in my office. So I was an intern in the office first. And then he later called me one day when I was 18 years old, and he said, there's an office out there that is going to be on the ballot, and I think you should run. And he said, what do you think about it? And my heart kind of sunk down a little bit, but being the tenacious person I am, and I said, yes, I'll do it. And so at the age of 18, I became a delegate to the D.C. Statehood Constitutional Convention, thus making me the youngest person to ever hold an elective office in the District of Columbia. And so a very proud moment for me. I got to know the caring side of Marionberry. He gave me the opportunity to be, I was an advanced man for him, and some of the situations, I can remember playing basketball with him over in Potomac Gardens, me and him playing against the other young people, and him saying, give me the ball, he taking all these shots, and he wasn't making them. So I said, man, I need to shoot the ball, and so I took some shots, and just to see him, I mean, he took his tie off, rolled up his sleeves, and in his shoes was out there playing basketball with those young people. Seeing him being able to just remember the names of people who just were out on the street, or he knew a relative, and just seeing that was just remarkable to me. The Youth Leadership Institute has produced many young people who have gone on to do great things in this city. The program continues. But just last night, one of the Institute alumni, Marcus Batchelor, became vice president of the D.C. State Board of Education. Kwame Brown, who was elected chairman of the D.C. City Council. Kenya McDuffie, who sits on the D.C. City Council. We have Joy Russell, who's the chief of staff for Angela Also Brooks, who's the Prince George's County executive. We've had young people, NFL, Lania and Tamara, who are Mrs. Barry's daughters. Lania, I saw her on TV and in movies. She had a start in a television series. Tamara, who is now leading the Posse Foundation here in the city. So whether it's from education, politics, arts, any field, Marionberry encouraged us wherever we landed that you need to be a leader. What I really appreciated about him, though, was I can't even remember the year, when the Howard students protested and the riot squad was about to bust in the doors and was about to take over the building. Kimry Hughes, my colleague Kimry Hughes, and I got a call from one of the Youth Leadership Institute participants who was on the roof, helicopter flying over the building. And he said, I didn't know who else to call, but they're about to break in here and do harm to these students. So Kimry and I talked real quick, and Kimry said, I'm running down to the Wilson building to talk to Marionberry. And he said, Norm, you go up to Howard and see what's going on. So I got to Howard, and I'm standing in front of the riot squad with the students saying, y'all cannot do this. Kimry goes down to the Wilson building. And I want to paint a picture for you, because Kimry's, we probably about 19, 20 years old. I don't know of any other city that a young person could go to the mayor's office and get in and have a conversation with the mayor. As soon as he heard what was happening, they jumped in the car, rolled up to Howard University. He got on the phone with Chief Turner at that time and told them they better not do anything to those students. And he came up there and they negotiated a truce to that situation. Great man. He gave us access to the government. And he also said, last time I saw him, Kimry and I saw him, he said, don't let anything happen to our program, to my program. And we took that to heart. So if there's nothing else, any other type of protest, if I get arrested for anything or demonstrate for anything, it would be to make sure that there's always a Marionberries Youth Leadership Institute here in the District of Columbia. My children have benefited from the program. As I told them, I said, your first summer job, you're going in the Institute. You can do anything else you want to after that, but you got to do the Institute first. This is so great that the city is recognizing 40 years of service to this city. And hopefully, as we celebrate 40 years as Marionberries Youth Leadership Institute, our goal is to find the young people that have gone through this program and organize and become a force here in this city. So I'm so grateful that they've chose me to be in this program, and I had the opportunity to meet the mayor for life, the Honorable Marionberry. Thank you, and we're going to have a great program this year. We'll definitely have a great program. Thank you.
Awesome. At this time, we'd like a testimonial from one of our host partners, Mr. Farad Tate, who also went through the program and is now a host and hires youth. And he's going to expound on that.
I stand here humbled, as well as having so many opportunities where men and women have guided us through this process of life. And I stand here humbled because if it wasn't for this institute, I would not have met my best friend. I would not have had the opportunities of starting the businesses and inspiring and impacting the lives of other young persons behind us. So I stand here also to challenge any business in D.C. that doesn't understand you have it is your responsibility as a business owner to reach back and give a young person an opportunity. When these young people have reminded me that my business was not for me. My business was only a platform for me to serve my community that has given me so much. And so I challenge every business out there, every person who has the ability to hire someone, to give a young person who doesn't have to look like you, but that young person is you in somewhere. That person is you. Give them an opportunity to experience work, to wake up for something every day that will make them realize that life is worth living. And when we live it together, imagine what we can do to make this world a better place. So it's this institute that taught me that. And it's you all that remind me that every day when I think I cannot, I know I can because I stand with you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I challenge you to let's get it to the next level. I know we can.
Now, we've talked so much about young people, it's only fitting that we have a young person who matriculated through the program recently to give their testimony. Sierra Bowser, would you please?
Hello, everyone. Hello. So I am Sierra Bowser. I'm a little emotional because of Mr. Farad. That was amazing. I was a participant in the MBSYEP program since I was 14 years old. This program has allowed me to see what I'm good at, my strengths, my weaknesses. I also had a resume by the age I was 14. I started off at DPR, and I loved DPR. I was in a paint camp, and I said painting might not be for me. However, I did learn the tools necessary to be an artist. At 15, I went into where we were in the Smithsonian, doing tours for the people in the community, volunteers and visitors out in D.C. That was amazing because I am a D.C. resident, born and raised in Ward 8, and I did not know about my city. That gave me opportunity to learn about my city. From 16 to 18, I went back to DPR as an instructor for the summer camp, and I knew that youth work was my passion. That's where I found my passion. And I went to school for mass communication so I can teach young people about the arts. So MBSYEP taught me the arts and passion. By the time I graduated with my master's, I knew that I had to be of service for my community. What the program taught me was to be of service and to be in my community and that these young people need me. Not only was I a young person in my community molding me to be a leader, but I knew I had to give that gift back. So now as I work at the Office of Youth Programs, that's a full circle, right? That's amazing. I have the pleasure of training young people to be community leaders. I have the pleasure of letting them know that this program works. I'm about to be 29 years old, so I have a story to tell to the young people that your first job may not be the job you would like. Your second job may not be your career expectations. That supervisor may not be your favorite supervisor, but they tell your story. And I have the chance to do that now in my role, and I love it. And if it wasn't for the program, I would not be the woman I am today. So thank you.
She got you crying. Now, y'all know when y'all get Choir Masters, Berry crying. It is so befitting as I introduce the First Lady and the matriarch of the Marionberries Summer Youth Employment Program to the stage. She is a dynamic and fearless leader. You have not served youth until you've served with Choir Masters Berry, because she does not take no when it comes to her youth. It's no ifs, ands, or buts, and you have a 5-minute window to call her back. Literally. So without further ado, I'd like to bring the matriarch up to do her magic.
It's still morning. Good morning. So I'm honored to be here. I don't know quite what I'm supposed to do, so I'm going to take and do what I want to do. Do 3 things. 1, talk a little bit about the origin of the program. I am in the generation when Marion was first mayor, and I knew him very well, as you probably know. And the impetus and the inspiration for him doing the summer jobs program was when he was young and growing up in Memphis, Tennessee. He always wanted to work. He was always very brilliant and always very industrious. But because of segregation and how they treated black people during that time, he could never really get a job. The only job he could ever get was delivering newspapers. And he said to me, he vowed that when he were ever in a position, he was going to make sure that if young people wanted a job, they could get a job. So that's where it started. So when he was in a position, he came up with the idea of creating an opportunity for young people to not only work, but to learn about what work is, learn about the work ethic, learn about the value of making money, saving money, and spending money. He had all of these concepts. And his first initiative, he was able, because he was very brash and very bold and very courageous, and he had the business community wrapped around his little finger, so he made the business community come together and hire these young people all across the city. So that was the first one. And, of course, the program grew. And as Norm said, I was very blessed to have both of my children have summer jobs. I mean, I don't know how many parents are here, but around this time of year, you'd be like, you got your birth certificate, you got your Social Security card, or you going on down there to 501, right? All right, let me know when you want to get on that subway. I mean, that was like, we didn't play about that. And I was very blessed that both of my girls, who are 5 years apart, were youth mayors. And so, yeah. The second one, Tamara, who he's just said, heads up the Posse Foundation. Recently, you don't know this, made a transition. Now she's head of the Foundation for the Nationals. And her job is to make sure that they do good by our community and give money to our people. So she chose a pathway of service. But a lot of those skills were learned in the Marionberries Youth Leadership Institute. And just a quick side story, just to talk about how it just brings so many different people. My kid grew up in private schools. She was at Georgetown Day School. And she talked like this. And I'm like, I don't know where this kid came from. But she decided she wanted to be in the institute. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to work because, the community. So I put her in there and I hid behind her because I think they were going to beat her up at American University. And it seemed like she survived. I said, okay, she made it. So they're not going to just beat her up. And then she came to me and said, Mom, I want to run for youth mayor. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. But she insisted. I even called the director and said, Tamara wants to run for youth mayor. I said, don't let her. So I said, 'cause she ain't going to win. It's going to hurt her feelings. She said, no, we're gonna let her run. She made her running partner, which was the city administrator, I think it was mayor and city administrator, a young girl who was at Mayfair Mansion. Okay? They handled that thing, and she became youth mayor. So I'm just saying, lots of things happened, and some of her lifelong friends came out of the Institute. So it's just wonders that they do, and then people are situated, as he says, all over the world. So that's the one thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about, on the other side of it, I do programs for kids. And we've had many of our youth in the Marionberries Summer program. And it's been wonderful. Now, I have to admit, when they come to me, they're in trouble. Because we have pretty strict rules at the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center how you're supposed to act. You got to dress right, talk right, get there on time. If you're there on time, you're already late. You got to be here 15 minutes, get your stuff up, blah, blah, blah. But it stays with them. So recently, Mayor, I'm going to tell this story because the next most important thing I have to do is talk about you. I was with a young man, and I say, bless his little heart. He had some ideas about what he wanted to do in life, and one of the things he wanted to do was be mayor of Washington, D.C. I said, well, that's great. Where do you live? I'm thinking, like, where you live, northwest, southeast. He said, I live in Maryland. I said, Maryland? And he said, yeah. I said, okay. Well, how long have you lived there? He said, all my life. I said, so you want to talk to me about being mayor of a city you've never even lived in? I said, well, I think it's going to be kind of hard to have this conversation. And then I thought to myself, okay, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice. So I said, well, just tell me what, but he works here, and I'm not, that's all I'm saying. He works for the D.C. government, so that's what inspired him, but he's always lived in Maryland. So I said, well, why do you want to be mayor? And he gave me this answer. I said, well, if you lived in the city, I would probably tell you, you don't have to be mayor to help fix that, but I can't direct you to a council member or A&C person because you live in Maryland. So he said, well, I said, well, what do you think about the president here? Well, I think that she should be doing some other than the Marion Berry, because that's Marionberries' summer job program. I said, honey, Marionberries dead. What this mayor can do is sustain it, grow it, improve it, and promote it. That's all you can ask. And no other mayor since Marionberries has done for the summer jobs program what Mayor Bowser has done. I love you for that. I appreciate you for that. And with that, I want to introduce you to Mayor Bowser.
Well, hello, everybody. Let's give a big hand to our First Lady, Cora Masters-Berry. Let's thank her for her service to the District of Columbia and her service to particularly young people in the District of Columbia. And I am just really excited to be with you today as we celebrate 40 years of the Marionberries Summer Youth Program. And you know why we're here. Most of you do. There will be many people who don't, because I asked myself the question, we're going to Newseum. That's great. And this is the former headquarters of the Department of Employment Services. So many people would have come to this location to sign up, not just for the Marionberries Summer Youth Program, but for so many other services to get to work in Washington, D.C. And I'm very pleased that we could be here and partner with the Newseum to celebrate MBSYEP. Some of you know that one of the first things that I did in office was to make the Summer Youth Program officially and in the law associated with Marionberries. So we changed the name to MBSYEP. The other thing that we did, which was so important, because what we recognized is that the Summer Youth Program had been very successful for young people up to the age of 21. And what we knew was that our young people weren't quite finished cooking by 21. They still needed some more bacon. And they needed some more support. So we were able to expand the Summer Youth Program to include young people through the age of 24. And that's been very important for us. We, in each of the 4 summers that so far I've had the privilege to be your mayor, we had 1,000 young people in that expanded MBSYEP program, covering young people through the age of 24. We were also able to ensure that all of the young people that participated in our MBSYEP program could actually get to work for free. And we expanded Kids Ride Free to include MBSYEP and some specialized subsidy programs. Our friends in the back are going to ask me about Metro and fare evasion and all of that stuff. And I want to be real clear. I have expanded free Metro for more Washingtonians than anybody in Washington, D.C. I started with Kids Ride Free on the bus. We expanded it to Kids Ride Free on the rail, and we have expanded the populations of Washingtonians who have been included in it. So I want to make perfectly clear that we support Washingtonians and getting to work and putting money in people's pockets, but we do not support lawlessness on the Metro. And so we're going to work with all of our communities and the members of the council to make sure that we can help Washingtonians in the way that they need to be helped and do it in a most efficient way. I want to thank our Department of Employment Services. You heard earlier this week that we have aligned our DOES work with our education work across the city, and the Department of Employment Services is now included in the Public Education and Workforce Cluster led by Deputy Mayor Paul Klein. So let's give our leaders a big round of applause for the work that they are doing. Very quickly, I can't say it better than Cora has already said it. MBSYEP serves 10,000 young people every summer. So let me just emphasize what a Herculean task that is. DC government is about 33,000 people, right? So every summer, DOES stands up a government organization that's about 1/3 the size of the entire DC government. They make sure that the kids get signed up. They make sure the kids get matched to appropriate opportunities. They make sure that they have their summer transportation, and they make sure that they get paid. Okay? So that is no small task, and it took vision. Marionberries had two favorite words, vision and courage, and all of those things came together 40 years ago to start this program. And every year when we talk about its budget and its operation, it continues to take vision and courage so that MBSYEP is here for years and years to come. I want to thank and acknowledge the council member, Alyssa Silverman, who is here. Give her a big round of applause. Alyssa chairs the committee that oversees DOES. I want to acknowledge former council chairman Kwame Brown, who's in the audience. Thank you, Kwame, for being here and always being supportive of the work that we need to do together as a city. With that, I want to continue to offer my congratulations, but I also want to offer a challenge to our young people. Sign up. You heard the First Lady. Get your documents together. Don't wait till the last minute. So, last year, every year I say that. Every year. And last year somebody called me and they were mad. They had a full head of steam. Why do those kids have to stand in that long line and blah, 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 the whole line? And I said, well, what about the last, 2 months that we've been signing up? Where were you? All right? So I need everybody's help in spreading that word. It is January. All right? So don't call us in June saying you messed up and I don't want to have to stand in that line. And isn't DC government terrible and DOES is the worst? And I'm going to say to you, what about January, February, March, April, and May? Now, I can't want a summer job more than you want one. I can't. I can't want to take care of my Metro fare cards more than you want to. And I am not going to let anybody talk about my agency because of your poor planning. So let's end on a positive note. We're all going to start, when we start signing up today, we start signing up right now. So we're going to tell the council members. We're going to ask them to talk to their ANC commissioners. We're telling all the school counselors. We want all the parent groups to know it's not hard to sign up. We want to make it easy as possible, but we need you to do it. Okay, congratulations, everybody.
I love my mayor. I love my mayor. I say it proudly. I love my mayor. And I'm also gracious enough to love my director. Come on up here, Dr. Morris Hughes, with your great vision, and tell these people all the things that you have done.
What I want to say, just a couple of things really briefly. There is a special place in this world for any adult that cares enough to act and serve for young people. our mayor, my mayor, Muriel Bowser, has done that. What people don't know is that in the last 4 years, under her leadership and vision, we have sent nearly 100 young people who are in the Summer Youth Employment Program and the Institute to South Africa. That is tremendous. That's one of the best kept secrets in the district. Under the leadership of Mayor Bowser, we established the Moss Scholarship Program, where young people who are enrolled in SYEP or in the Institute that graduate from high school and that are interested in going to college or even the military or a career or technical school can get a book scholarship for $2,500. Now, I don't know about y'all, but $2,500 goes a long way. But it takes courage and vision from our city leaders, from my mayor, from your mayor, to do that. So thank you so much. And thank you for allowing us to dream big and think big and execute, because that is very important. Echoing what Mayor Bowser said, we're excited for the 40th anniversary year of the Summer Youth Employment Program in our nation's capital. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your leadership and vision and your commitment for our youth, particularly our older youth between the ages of 22 to 24. We are excited about every single opportunity that is going to come this summer and forevermore in this program. Now, without further ado, we should get ready to open the application. Can someone give me a signal that the application is open? Okay, so now the application is officially open. Young people can go online and apply. Do not wait until the very end. This is a coveted position, but the application now is officially open. So thank you, everyone, for coming out today. We are very, very grateful, and we're going to make the 40th year of the Institute and the Summer Youth Employment Program amazing. Thank you. Oh, the website, summerjobs.dc.gov, summerjobs.dc.gov. Okay, thank you very much. So I've been asked to call the mayor back up and take a few questions from press if they have it.
First questions on DOES, summer jobs, and I'll deal with a topic in a huddle following. Any questions?
Mayor Bowser, in case you missed it, could you give us just kind of an overview of the decades of the program? How many youth have been served over the years?
How many total? That's a good. We have a number that we estimated at 500,000. 500,000.
Youth. What does that say about the program and how important it is?
Well, I think that it says that it has been consistent, a mainstay, summer after summer, where young people are getting opportunities. I think you have been able to see multiple generations in the summer youth program, parents and children who have been able to go through summer youth over the last 40 years. And I think it says that it's been effective at connecting young people. And the young lady who was speaking, I don't know what she said it perfectly, that we have to expose young people to careers. And we may also be exposing them to, maybe they decide, I don't want to do that. And it helps focus them on the things that they want to do. And it also puts them in contact with caring adults who can help mentor them. So a kid may have a dream and they have no idea how to realize it. Or they may have no idea what it means to say, I want to be a doctor, and they have to learn this is how much it pays. This is how much school you have to go to. These are all the resources that are available to you. They may be exposed to other high demand fields, for example, cybersecurity and forensics that we have a tremendous need for right here in our city. And the earlier that they are exposed to it, they can start making decisions in school, for example. If I like watching CSI, because this is where their dreams start, then I can meet an actual scientist that works for D.C. government. Then I can learn about the huge demand there is, for example, for examiners to look at ballistics that we can't hire for in DC right now. So they can start taking classes in high school to get them ready. And they can be turned on to the experiences that gets them ready. That's how we connect more DC residents to high demand jobs. And it starts with a spark. And we can feed that spark in the Summer Youth Program.
Quick question, Mayor. Could you ask a question? How many of the people here were in the program?
How many alum do we have for MBSYEP? Yes, that's a lot. Fantastic. Okay, thank you, everybody. You had a question? Was there a community question? No, ma'am. Okay, very good. Thank you.